Hello and welcome to the July edition of That Saints podcast, where we look at how the Saints are getting on during the previous month and look forward to the next few matches. Big thanks to Steve Beech for last month when I was away on an enforced trip to Malta.
For a month? Got to ask you, was you there for a month?
Well, it wasn't quite a month, but I had to do something to get over the shock of getting hammered at home by Wire, didn't I? Thanks for last night. I had a good listen to the podcast on holiday though when you put it up. Nice tributes to Rob Burrow and Christine Escuth. It was a tear to the eye really for that. Some appalling cup final tips though from Mr. AD and Steve Orford tipping Wire to win the cup. Unfortunately, they're missing tonight, but I'll be saying something to them next time about that.
It's not like Steve, is it? Steve's usually here.
True. So, who's with us tonight anyway? We've got Steve Beech, obviously, is with us. Hello, Steve.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
All right, I'm good. Kat Tinsley's with us.
Hello, gents. Nice to be here.
Off the sick bed.
Indeed.
Back off the sick bed. And Darren Rigby's with us this week.
Good evening, gents.
Evening.
Gaz has been away longer than Ignatius Passy. You do realise that?
Well, they're both back in the same month.
Indeed.
Hopefully in the same form.
Well, we'll hope so. But it was a bit of a quiet month really with the cup final and international. So let's kick off with the early game in the month. A bit of a cakewalk really. London 4, Saints 52. Tries from Blake 2, 1 from Dodd, 3 from Darren Clark, 1 from Percy and 1 from Conrad Hurrell, with a late reply from Kershaw for London, but well expected. I think it was a result that was coming because we actually played quite well, but I don't think we actually I don't think we surprised anyone with the result, did we? It was coming, but what surprised me was that we didn't play a few kids. I don't know what your thoughts on that was.
Well, we discussed this at the end of last month because I floated that idea whether we'd do it, and obviously the lads sort of said, well, no, because other teams have put London through the mangle, basically, and obviously our issue with points difference. It's killed us last year.
It did.
So it was wide. So it wasn't a surprise in that respect. From my point of view on it, it was the end bit, the try at the end, and I think that's when we look further on, as we're going to talk about other games as well. It makes you wonder, is there an issue there as they get towards the end of the games? But other than that, it was a routine thing. I feel sorry for London in that respect. They cut the cloth accordingly. At the end of the day, it is what it is. You're just hoping that other teams don't put the ringer through them. That's what you're looking for, and it's a shame in that respect. It shouldn't come to that sort of thing.
No, I'll flag that now because I've got a couple of things to say later about that. I mean, but getting some new kids involved, or not really kids, but blood in some youngsters, because I think it's relevant to discussion later with looking at squads and people leaving. But did you see the game, Gaz? You thought?
I did. I felt I had mixed views on it because Mbai looked like a superstar. He put the beautiful kick through for Wonga, and then he put that Coot-like pass out, and then he scored himself. And you think, wow, is he? Are we going to be all right without Johnny? And is he the answer? I think Mbai is playing well, but then you go to the Salford game and you find out no, he isn't.
We'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah, and I thought.
Bell played well in that game, I thought.
Bell was instrumental in the Darryl Clark hat-trick when he went through twice and popped it out to him. And Sione looked like he was just running through everybody. But I think it was a reflection, really, of just how weak London are. I thought what another thing that was encouraging is Percival's new 3-step kicking style seems to be much more effective. And he got loads that day, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think it is just a reflection of how bad London are, and
in many ways it was a shame they got promoted.
It would have been better if it would have been
Toulouse for me,
or Featherstone.
Maybe.
Well, I think if they'd known from the start where they were going to be with regards to the IMG thing, because they got promoted, and then, to be honest, they were stitched up, weren't they? Big stars. So if I'm sure if that was Saints, we'd be all sort of thinking, well, why should we try? Because at the end of the next season, we know we're going to go. I feel, and they'd all moved to Plough Lane, is it? Wimbledon play or whoever. So they've got a better ground in that respect.
It's a nice little ground they've got.
Yeah. And I know they've been doing a little bit of tours around London to try and get that, more people involved. And they got, considering where they are as well, they don't get bad numbers really. Which is again, it's a shame. But I know the guy who's been the money man behind him for a long time. Is it Hughes? I think his name is.
Yeah.
You got to take your hat off to him, how much he's been involved for so long. Because I do really feel sorry, for him, because he's getting nothing for his efforts. over a long period of time.
He seems to be keeping it going in London on his own, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think it's important that we have a London team in Super League just to spread it out. But I think that was the highest attendance for 10 years or something, they said.
Yeah.
But it was at the Stoop, which is interesting because if it was at Plough Lane, would they have got the same numbers? I don't know. I really don't know where London sit with the grounds, and they seem to move around everywhere and they can't settle. I think they just need to establish themselves in one place.
I think Plough Lane this year is basically the best. I just think they're doing that moving around thing just to trying to get more people to, okay, you've seen us here, this is where we are at Plough Lane.
Probably had to do that because they couldn't play at that other place. What was it called? Trailblazers.
Well, did anyone ever go to that?
Yeah.
Don't incredible, wasn't it? You could park your car next to pitch.
it was like playing at Thattereath with a bigger stand.
Yeah. So don't let Steve Orford get onto it because he has some cracking stories about it.
But no, it is
sorry.
Go on. No, I was just going to say Saints performance. I don't either way. Saints fans are, whether they're happy or not happy, I don't know, because they couldn't win either way, could they? They put up like a high score on them, we would have been, well, why didn't you play the kids? Or if you would have put a low score like Wigan played them, last week, was it?
Yeah, that's right,
30 points. So, if you look at them two fixtures come the end of the season, if it is us and Wigan at the top, our game against London, we played a full strength team, and maybe it might tip the balance. You just don't know.
I wasn't meaning sort of play 6 or 7 kids or youngsters. I was saying, look, let's blood a couple in the same way that Stevens has been blooded this year, like I think the likes of Robertson maybe, and or is it Dagnall the winger, or
the kid at 7?
Yeah, the Whitby.
Yeah, that's the one I'd have tried.
Yeah.
Because he's got a style of play, looking at him in the reserves, where he can keep out of trouble as well. So
the bit that I didn't like, back to Steve's point, but I've got a different view on it, the 6. And I think Sculthorpe said something like, Wellens will be absolutely raging about the 6. Why? We've won 52-6. We're St Helens, and this obsession with D drives me up the wall. I know it's important, but we was the entertainers, and you get 20, we'll get 40, 50. We're not anymore. We're the D machine, and it's like ridiculous. I'm raging about the 6. He did well to get that down, Kershaw. You know what I mean? It wasn't an easy try. And you're like, whoopee-doo, you know what I mean? They've scored it last minute. Yeah, okay, we might have switched off for 30 seconds when we're 52-0.
But that's it though, isn't it? It's the switch-off bit, and that in other games, the one that we're going to speak about.
We're 52-0 up. And it's great to get the nil, I get that, and I'd like to get the nil. But if I was talking about the game after, I wouldn't be focusing on the 6. I'd be saying, well done lads, we got 52, great stuff, and okay, at the end they scored, we shouldn't have done that. But I'll be furious about the 6.
The thing is, when it's a kick, it's a 50-50. So somebody's going to score at some point, aren't they? Even if you've got the best record in the league, if somebody's kicking into the end zone, as it were, then and it was 2 fellas there going for it. One of them's got to get it. So
it's like that game. What was that game? Didn't we win 1-12-0? And he was like going, oh no, we won one. We won 1-0, I can't remember, but the comment after was something like, I don't know, it wasn't the 40 odd we got that it's the 0 that I'm most pleased with. And I'm like, as a supporter, I'm quite happy with the 40 odd.
I'm just happy with the win.
Yeah.
I've got a question about the London game, by the way. Darryl Clark is that the quickest ever Super League hat-trick? Because I asked this
I think
question
it
on
must
Twitter
be.
and no one came back to me. And I was doing a bit of research, and I think Danny Maguire was closest, and it said under 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Darryl Clark was within 7 minutes.
That's
I think it
right.
was 7 minutes.
So I think someone needs to update the stats somewhere. I don't know who that is.
I could have said that. I mean, Darryl Clark has, he's just come in and just slotted right in there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
What's really interesting on Darryl Clark as well is since Johnny's gone, he's playing 18 because he has to. In the early part of the season, when we went to the thing pre-season at the club, they were talking to Darryl Clark and he was saying, like, which annoyed me a little bit, he was saying, I'm quite happy playing 50, 60 minutes and Moses can have the other 20 and I'll share the role. And I'm like, somebody knew that Roby would never have said that.
No.
But I thought, fair enough. I don't like it, but fair enough. But of recent weeks, he's had to play 80 and he's done it no problem.
Yeah, because obviously Mbai's in the halves now, isn't he?
Yeah. But he's done it no problem.
Yeah.
Well, he's fit and he looks fit. Yeah, so I think he should stay on.
Yeah.
There's no reason to take him off if he's fit and firing.
Yeah.
For me, but we'll come to that in a minute. It's an interesting conundrum. Then we had the cup final. Do we want to discuss Wigan's winning the cup? I'm not particularly bothered about that myself. No.
Was it a Wigan win or did Warrington throw it away?
We'll discuss the curtain raisers of that.
They were
in a little
awful,
bit.
weren't they? I mean, a big game like that, George Williams superstar needs to turn up, and my word, he did not turn up.
No.
You know what I mean? He's that good. He could have really made a difference, and he just didn't. Anonymous, wasn't he? And Wigan's machine just blew him away.
I think going back to the Super League Grand Final last year when Wigan played Catalan, I was expecting more from Catalan. Same with Warrington, I'm expecting more from Warrington, and I think both times Wigan's had an easy ride in both games where they've just done what they had to do.
There aren't many teams that can trouble Wigan when they're in that sort of mindset. We can.
Yeah.
Certainly, but
you know why?
Anybody else can.
But
Because of the pack.
Yeah, they're just a machine. They're just a machine that keeps on rolling. And if you don't get them up the middle, they'll have around the sides. You know, it's just.
Well, they have got pace. They've got pace to burn, haven't they?
Yeah.
Which is. We'll come to that.
We when we're in full pomp, is we can match them in the pack.
Yes.
I mean, we certainly can't match them in the backs, but we can match them in the pack. Maybe we might even be a bit better. If we've got, and I don't think anybody else does.
No.
Warrington certainly didn't.
Okay, well, let's deal with our next game. Salford 20, Saints 18. This was, for me, a banana skin waiting to happen, but I think we took our own banana skin with us and used it, basically. I think we expected this as a result. Yeah. I think it was one of them in the calendar. You think, we never do well there, but there's no reason we shouldn't do well there.
Do you know what? It was a Sunday afternoon, sun was shining. Saw AD before, had a pint with AD, everyone in the beer garden, it was absolutely cracking at Salford.
Did AD pay?
No.
That's... there we go.
But now that chap, he's not here to defend himself.
He's not, no, it's not fair. But I think we've touched on it before about Salford build up the atmosphere there pre-game, and it was absolutely fantastic. There was something like 1,500 Saints fans there again.
Yeah,
fantastic turnout. Absolute shock at that end. But then it was just one of them games where they score, we score, they score, they score, we score, we score. You know, it's back and forward, and then you just felt all the way along that they're going to get us here.
Yeah.
And especially with Sneed, because he hadn't been kicking that well. You just knew it would come off at one point.
Well, they outscored us 4-3, but it was irritating for me because when I was watching it, I was thinking, we've gone back to 5 drives and a kick here.
Yeah.
We've just scored 52 in the last game at London with some really good attacking football, and we've just reverted to 5 drives and a boot up in the air.
5 drives and an awful kick that get just like a dolly in the air straight into somebody's arm.
There was no change in it, was there?
Sneed hits grass every time. There's one there, he puts it right down the middle. Dodds are like me throwing it to my daughter. You know, they go not too high, they come down nice for them to take. And what was interesting as well, because he was, what's he called, Hankinson, he was proper ropey at the back end.
He was,
a couple of times he put a decent kick up, he dropped him.
And I think if they'd have mixed that up, if they'd put those up and then a couple on the ground, etc., or didn't even. He was comfortable after that, wasn't he?
But I think injuries have got an impact on this game. You know, I mean, just before kick-off, Laffey pulled out because I didn't get to go, and I'm like, thank God for that. It probably would have been worse if Laffey would have played.
Yeah.
But for us, you know, we've only just lost, and I think if Tommy plays, we possibly win. I didn't think. You know, I don't think Benison had his best game.
No, I agree with you.
He's come back in and he didn't shine really. He didn't. They looked ropey on that side, and I'm a big Benison fan.
But that's the problem of not playing and then suddenly getting thrown.
Yeah.
in,
and they're
isn't
not.
it?
He's not a winger, is he?
Not really.
This is the thing.
He's a full-back
He's not
player.
a winger. He's a full-back player, not wing.
Yeah.
And
they've got two good wingers.
They got two. You know, Dion Cross. I think he's from St Helens.
Yes.
Well, he played with us, didn't he?
Morning.
We got rid of him.
Yeah. And he was great.
Yeah.
And if you look at and we're going to talk about signings, aren't we, in a bit? But you know that Neme MacDonald, he was top draw, and you think that we're just not. We've got problems on the wings and the backs, haven't we? I mean, they recruit. It just seems like Paul Rowley knows a good player when he sees one, and he signs them.
I think we've touched on it umpteen times around this table, but when Saints come up against lesser opposition, when I'm talking lesser, like London, like Castleford, like you sort of make Huddersfield throw into that mix, we seem to just play expansive rugby, and it comes off because we've got the players that can do it.
Yeah.
As soon as then we come up against a Salford who'll play like against you, OKR, you know, your Wigan, we seem to then just be up the middle, and we can't then defend against teams that want to play like Saints used to play.
Yeah.
Like they want to throw the ball out. We stand there like, hang on a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And it's ironic because Wello used to play in that team.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I don't understand, because he's playing some of the most entertaining, exciting, attacking teams we've had for many a year, and then we suddenly, where's that gone?
Where
does it go? Is it a mindset that let's not lose this? I think he said something unfortunate after this game, like 18 points should be enough to win any game.
Yeah.
Which is not. This is not what
Emphasis on the D. Yes, again.
It's not what you want to hear.
It's not what you want to hear.
It's a bit Southgate for me, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather be
Still one.
Oh God! Oh my God!
I'd rather concede 25 points if we score 27.
Exactly.
27. You know, it's entertaining, but you know, go back to Millwood if you like. You know, we got that with him all the time, didn't we?
Justin.
Justin. Yeah, Justin was similar.
That was good rugby, great rugby.
If you're of a mindset of well, let's score as many points as we can, then it doesn't matter what they score, because it's highly unlikely they're going to get more than we are.
Yeah. Especially with the players.
I think the thing we've got. I just wonder whether they I don't know. It's a conundrum, because I think these players know that they can play some great stuff. They've scored the most points, I think, and they might have conceded the least, but it might be close to Wigan. I'm not sure, but they can certainly do it. Even with a depleted squad, because there were 6 missing at Salford, but they were. But it was the same. Essentially the same 17 who'd played the week before, or 2 weeks before at London, and played some great stuff.
But the mindset again, we're going for Percival. I think there was 10 minutes left, something like that, and he went for the 2. And for me at that point of the game, we get it in the corner.
Yeah.
Have attack on the line.
Yeah.
Even if you get a repeat set, we're having another attack, and as soon as we went for the 2 there, I thought we've lost this game. Because as soon as they get a sniff here, they'll be in.
They were throwing it out, and sure enough, here it comes.
And unfortunately, the one that really mattered was the one that he missed.
It was.
I mean, but to be fair to him, I think his kicking's been really good, hasn't it, of late?
But it has. But there's
let's
form there for the ones that really matter.
Yeah.
I think he's been training with George Whitby, because you watch George Whitby in the reserves. That's exactly how he kicks.
Yeah, he's slowed it right down. Slowed it right down. Let the ball do the work, basically, hasn't it? As long as it's on the right direction, it's not like kick the bladder out of it type of thing.
I think an encouraging one is that the young lads coming in the pack are holding their own. You know, like
don't look at the place.
Noah Stevens looked great.
Yeah.
Looks like he can run and pass, and you know, the one that Mbai dropped would have been a fantastic try the other week. And George Delaney's holding his own. So you know, and Bell is a loose forward who can actually pass a bit. I think, and I don't think you couldn't say the forwards are the reason we lost at Salford. It's this piece of where they've got a bit of creativity, a bit of pace, like Darren said, they just go round us.
Because as much as good as Wonga Blake was good against London, I thought he was really suspect in this. I mean, there was one thing he put a kick up, and it was Percival's all day longer, I thought. And he came in and obviously bumped down, and I think it was Cross who went in for his second try, and then their last try.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was 8 acres of space, wasn't there?
He's not the answer. There's been a few things I've been reading lately of people warming to him and he's getting better, and I'm like, no, he's not.
They're not. Well,
he's not consistent enough, is he?
He's not good enough. No, he's not good enough.
But again, you can't expect somebody to come all 12,000 miles around the world and be a superstar in the first season. It happened. I mean,
we've had loads of them.
We haven't had that many. Matauti wasn't great in his first season.
No, but Jamie Lyon was, and Ben Barber was.
Yeah.
Well, but they came over as superstars. They weren't,
They came over as damaged goods. That's the ideal signing.
They all come over as damaged.
That's the ideal signing. It's like Wanderers come over fine. That's the problem. If they come over fine, it means they're not good enough.
Do you know how these things go full circle? Years ago, we used to send them all to Australia.
Anyway, it was a disappointing result because we could kind of all see it coming. Yeah. But put your hand up if you didn't see that coming.
Oh, well, I think we mentioned it last week. That was definitely the bananas. Go on.
Can I mention something else? This was an enormous frustration of mine, and that's Dodd's kicks to touch.
Yes.
Yeah. That never go more than 5 yards. They take risk averse to another level. They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
And yet, when on the odd occasion they let Mbai kick to touch. Bit like Joey Lussick.
That's right,
Mbai's knocking them 20, 30 yards.
Yeah.
Sneed's knocking them 50 yards.
40, 50 yards from Sneed.
And Dodd's kicking them not much farther than where he kicks the ball is where it goes in touch. And it's just, take the easy yards. Take them kicks to touch off him.
Yeah.
And that's somebody else who, I'm not saying take massive risks, but you can gain another
Get your boots on it.
Yeah.
Get your boot on it.
That's been a noticeable problem for about 4 years now.
Yeah, it's mad. And you'd think if it's been going on that long, why have they not changed it? Because they're not getting an advantage when they've got people in there, like you say, who can do it.
Yeah. Simple stuff. Yeah. The old days, like if you're playing Wigan and that happened, and it's in their 20, Andy Farrell kicks you into your 20. You're like, oh my God, we're on our line now. We've got a penalty.
We nearly scored, now we're back on our own line. Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of kicking, before we move on, are you going to mention this one? Go on, take it away.
Mark Sneed, penalty. Thank God the referee knows the rules.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a clever move. That I was almost on a par with. Was it John Harrison that headed the ball over the line years ago? Because that was a
apparently that's happened recently as well. I was listening to another podcast, and that's happened recently because they said, I thought it was illegal to head the ball, and then somebody said, didn't say to do that back, and then somebody said, it was John Harrison.
Think about this one was though. The Sneed's a victim of his own success because he never misses that far.
No, he's not. No. Mark Sneed
that's one of ours. That could be a legitimate argument.
Do you know what? Percy wants to pull that one up.
He does.
But kudos for the attempt and kudos to the referee for that because he was on the ball there. Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, let's. If we think we're disappointed after that, we've got a bit of a heavy July coming. I think a couple of months ago we were saying that Paul Wallens had a tough May coming up, and we did okay in that. But in July, I reckon we are 6 first team regulars down now. We've got Walmsley, Whitley, Batchelor, Knowles out, Makinson and Lomax out, which is 6 first on the team sheets, and we've got Cass at home on Friday, which should be, you'd hope, a home banker, and then we've got 3 biggies: Wigan away, Wyre at home, Lee away. Now those are 4 games coming up where I think Cass is. We should beat Cass. We put 60 on them with 12 players, didn't we? Although they have improved a little bit.
I was just going to say at the moment, they had a little bit of a good patch and a little bit of a wobble, and they've come back too now. Where if you take your foot off the gas, or if you just don't respect them,
Yeah.
And it's happened before with us, where we've done same and they've bet, like Salford used to do regular as clockwork at one spell.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually I think it's our toughest month. I think it's a tougher month than May was. What are your thoughts there, Darren, on where we are squad wise and those games coming up?
Well, we've got to beat Castletown.
Yeah.
If we don't beat Castletown, we might as well give up.
Yeah.
So I'd expect at least, I'm going to say 40 points on Cass at least. They might score 20, but at least we score 40.
We'll be happy with that.
I'll be happy with that. Absolutely made up. But Wigan away, I just cannot see us getting a result there unless it's one of them in the derby, isn't it? Because you can pretty much put out whatever team you want, and it's the players step up for it. It's a different level.
In the same way Wigan used to step up when we were top dogs. Yeah.
So we've been there before where we've gone into underdogs. Wigan have gone into the underdogs, and you just never know. But the way, if you look at both teams, and especially the injuries we've got at the minute, I just cannot see us matching them for pace or for power.
Well, I'm pretty sure none of those 6 will be back for that game.
No,
and they won't. If they're not available for Friday, I'd be very, very surprised if they're available for the Wigan game.
And then you look at Warrington. Again, Warrington seems to have this hoodoo over us at the new stadium. I know I'm saying new stadium, I'm 10, 12 years in, but
still new.
It's still new, and they just seem to have that. They want to come here and win.
Well, we want to go there and win, so that's
we do. It's
the only thing with Wire at the moment is they've got the Wembley wobbles, haven't they? I mean, since Wembley, they've been shocking again.
Yeah, they have. So
they're unpredictable, aren't they?
I'd like to see us win at home, and I'd like to say see us win by a couple of points there, and Lee away. I just do not know.
It's another Salford, isn't it?
So it's another Salford.
Yeah.
It could be a banana skin depending on what Lee side you get.
Yeah.
So I think you're right, Graham. It's going to be a tough month, and I can see us actually sitting in fourth after this.
I say it's tougher than May because we're not 6 first teamers down. We weren't
That's
6
the
first
point.
teamers down in May.
Yeah.
I think the key one for me is Tommy. I think Tommy's a massive loss now. We just haven't got that. And it's everything. It's his entire game. But I do believe if he'd have played with Beech Salford, I think he made made that much. The others will get. The big losses, but we get by. The packs. It's almost getting threadbare, but it's coping.
We're creaking at the seams a bit with the pack. Yeah.
So I think we'll have in too much for Cass. Wigan Fields out with a hamstring injury, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's always out for a couple. He's out for a couple of months.
Oh, right.
Oh, is he?
That's a blow. And so for them, that takes a bit of the ridiculous pace out of the team. Although then again, there is his full-back errors we could have relied on, but never mind. But it's a big ask Wigan away, I think, this time. But
they'll be up for
we might raise it. Warrington terrify me. They always have. Because of. And it's even worse than ever now, the pace. Williams, we won't. Not, they break the line, about 5 of them. Ashton, Williams, and
they've gone.
We're not catching him.
Duffy's quick. Whatever you think of him as a fullback, he's quick.
If they break our line, put the kettle on, because there's no point chasing them. We've got nobody who can catch any of them.
No.
And that's what they'll do. They'll try like they did in the Challenge Cup. They know they won't be able to beat us down the middle. So they'll just go out and it's worrying. It's worrying. And then Lee away. I went Lee away last year when we went 12-0 up and then we got beat. They're gritty, aren't they? That's the word for Lee. They're nasty and gritty, and they've got old heads everywhere.
Lee away as well. It's like the old Nosey Road. The players the fans seem to be so on top of the players. I mean, Matty Lees, if I'm correct, didn't he get sent off or sin-binned? And
for nothing.
It was the fans. The fans did that, and it reminds me of Nosey Road when all the fans used to get on the back of the referee. It's that sort of.
Isn't that one?
That's a myth. That
I think
that never happens.
I think we need to target winning at Lee away.
Yeah.
We need to target winning every game, of course we do, but there's some big asks there.
When you look at them 4 fixtures, it's
the problem we have is what state we'll be in. Will we be in by Lee away? You know what I mean?
Well, what state will we be in after Wigan away? We got Wire at home. Will we be losing a couple more? Who knows? I mean, we don't.
I always find as well, if the team's flying and you're doing ace, nobody gets injured, do they? But when you start losing a few, people.
But
I don't know.
We've lost lads with quite serious injuries, I think, and you forget Winfield's out again. I felt 7 because he's in the 17 when he's fit. He's a shoulder, isn't he? Whitley's a shoulder. Batch has gone with an ankle. Wormsy's still in a boot. Johnny's got a fractured hand, and Tommy's got one of them injuries. That
plantar fasciitis, he's got.
Very good. But that's one of them that it was nobody near him. No. And they're often the worst ones, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know,
well, it's something he's suffered from in the past.
Is it?
Yeah. So he's always susceptible to it.
He's had a few this season, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, more than normal.
A few months. This one's like a 6-weeker.
Yeah.
There's a few, you know, and there's views on that.
Just going back to Lee before we move on, I was watching that and their new signing, Aaron Penn.
Oh yeah.
He's
a big boy, isn't he?
He looks tired. They've got a good pick there. He come on. I thought, I know Tom Amon's going next season, but he looked very much along that sort of lines for him. Yeah. And sort of good on him from spotting. We could do is picking up guys like that who look, decent. I know the thing is out. He's still got to play a few more games, but like we were saying about people coming in and playing well straight from the off. He did that game,
but he's been playing in the NRL, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's not one who's been chipped off to what they call it, the Winfield Cup or something. Is it the other league? He's actually been playing, and that makes a huge difference. But he's a big lad. And we'll look at that when we come to the confirmed transfers for next year. There's some you think, oh wow, there's quite a few surprises come with that. It certainly surprised me. But okay, let's move on. So we're looking forward to a tight month. Let's nip back to Challenge Cup final, the real match. St Ladies 22, Leeds 0. What a great game that was for the girls. Super defence for once. They were really good, and then tries from Faye Gaskin, Phoebe Hook. I can't remember McComb's first name, but Shani Crowell, and then 3 tries from Faye. 3 goals from Faye Gaskin, but it was a great performance.
It was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. And I loved that talking to Ed about it. The interview after the match with Faye Gaskin was like. I was getting quite emotional, to be honest, listening to it. And it was great. They played so well. Leeds never looked like getting into it, did they? It was just a fantastic performance.
I don't know if it's a coincidence, but I think since they've decided to get their hand in the pockets and start to pay the ladies, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they've not put it out there because they've not been paid, but I think they've thought, okay, like
well, they lost a couple, didn't they? They lost
some big names.
Amy Hardcastle and the other girl, the blonde girl whose name escapes me, second row. Can't remember.
Did she go over to York?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
There's a really good Hoyle, no?
Yeah, Shauna Hoyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But they've picked up a cracking fullback, and Vicky Whitfield's had a renaissance, hasn't she?
Hey, I tell you what.
Yeah.
I know this sounds wrong, but she looks fit. Do you know what I mean? Match fit. I interviewed her a couple of seasons back, just after she was getting back from a cruise ship, and looking at her from then to now, which obviously she's putting the effort in the gym and all that sort of thing. She looks really, really good. Really good.
Jodie Cunningham had a great game. Emily Rudge was superb.
I like the young girl who they have as a hooker.
Tara was good, but when Mottershead comes on,
she's good. I like her. Yeah,
she looks like she could play for the fellas.
Well, she just got picked in the England squad, hasn't she?
I'm not surprised
for this game they played against France, but a passing from dummy half is absolutely bang on the money.
That's a proper skill, that is.
And again, she looks like a hooker. That's the wrong thing to say, but
you're going to get your last one was a bit
I'm on a roll, lads. I'm on a roll.
I don't know if anyone's seen on the socials, but the girls are now running I think it's an Instagram page or a Twitter page or a Snapchat. I don't know what it is, but it's funny to follow them and watch them, and they look like they're having a great time while playing some really, really good rugby, which is refreshing to see. I think it's Emily Rudge that does it with Jodie Cunningham. With Jodie Cunningham, and they are the face of the women's team at the minute for Saints, and they're doing an absolute sterling job, and as are all the squad. It's just a shame that they're having to play in a 90,000 seater stadium, and it's empty.
Yeah. And should I tell you what's even worse than that? The kids play beforehand, and the gates aren't even open.
I know.
Isn't that mad?
That's poor,
isn't it?
When we went, I remember with the Warrington. Well, I'll never forget the one Robert Hicks Warrington final. Yeah. The kids' game was on then. About last year, and I think through COVID and one after, or just after COVID, because Parky went down to commentate on it, because that one thing we organised from the other podcast that I do. Parky was going down to commentate on it, and we got in touch with the schools and everything. And literally, he only actually got in the stadium like 10-15 minutes before it kicked off, and when he got in there was virtually, certainly I think the only people in were the parents. And as much as that's nice, you would like, so to get a bit of a crowd, though. It's a shame.
People would go if the gates were open.
Yeah.
Because if it was your club who were playing in the final and your academy or your kids were there, you'd go earlier.
That's right. That was an unfortunate thing about the women's, wasn't it? It's a Wigan-Warrington final and a Saints Leeds. Yeah. If we'd have made the final, there's a lot of Saints fans would have gone.
Oh yeah. I think there was still a good turnout, considering though, that followed them, which is great because it shows the sport as a whole.
I think they said there was about 6,000 that had actually gone through the turnstiles. I might have got that figure completely wrong, but I remember seeing it somewhere. But 6,000 and 90,000 is a pin job. It's nothing, is it? No. For me, I know the occasion of playing at Wembley is big, and it's we're going to Wembley, but I'd love to see them in a 15, 20,000, some sides of Langtree Park where it's full and it's bouncing for the girls, and get that for them, because they don't deserve to be cheering in front of empty seats. It's just the spectacle's too big now.
I'm hoping it'll go the way of women's football, because up to 5 years ago that was nobody watched it. Now the Arsenal and Man United are playing with 30,000-40,000 people, and I think if they can it's just got to stick with it.
Yeah,
it's just got to stick with it and get the clubs paying them, keep it going, and it'll grow.
I don't know what you feel like at grassroots level. I think that's definitely in Haydock.
Oh yeah,
the girls. There's loads of girls teams.
Yeah,
and there's loads of them in each squad. You walk around the park and you see them like training, and you're like, wow. And my little one's thinking. She's thinking, she's not big enough, she's my little one, but she's thinking, I might want to play, Dad. I'm like, no. Yeah. But there is a lot. I mean, that's just me walking on my local park. I'm sure it's the same at all the clubs.
Well, I tell you, me and Parky went down doing commentary on Crossfields a couple of weeks ago, and we were there really early, and there was a women's game on beforehand, and it was really, really good. Good crowd there, for the women's game. But I heard a sentence which I thought I'd never heard in my life, and it was, "Get into it, Whitney." I was thinking, that's so wrong for some reason. But yeah, and it was good, and exactly the same as when the lads played after, the community lads. They come off, and it was exactly the same, or all best mates, all talking to each other. They really, really enjoyed it.
And it seems to be growing also in the schools.
Yeah.
So you might be right, Graham, that
just got to be stuck with
the groundswell.
It does at some point, and I think the dam might have broken with the payments being made. It needs to push on that.
Well, that's essential, isn't it?
I think so.
And that, a lot of that goes on the back of what Daz was saying there, or what the girls, not just at Saints, but if you take Saints as the example, they are getting out on social media. You see them having fun. You see them all mates and whatever, and that replicates. The kids, want to do that, don't they? Exactly the same way. And the other thing is, from day one, they've always been accessible. Right at the end of the games, they're all over, signing shirts, having photo, and it's not changed.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talk about, what are they, four back-to-back four times now with the Challenge Cup final.
4 in a row, isn't it?
4 in a row.
Yeah.
Used to that now.
Yeah. but still, they get there to kids, all photos, apparently, I heard that Jodie Cunningham was out there after the game had finished. She was out there close to 45 minutes to an hour, having photos taken, signing.
Yeah.
And kids remember that.
Right, yeah, of course,
Yeah,
they
of course they
do.
do. Of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course they do. I think that this season's performance and winning that cup was even better because with Amy Hardcastle going and Carrie Roberts, was it?
Yeah, she went as well.
They
Yeah.
lost the two
Yeah.
key centres and they've replaced them and they look even better.
You've got to say hats off to Matty Smith as well.
Oh, yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
second season now, is it?
Yeah.
That is, so two cups.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get the Super League as well this year with the Challenge Cup.
They play some good attacking rugby
I
as
mean,
well.
it's got to be said that first 20 minutes in that game, though, they were under the pump. Leeds absolutely hit that line and they kept them out. And I think that that broke its back to a certain degree, didn't it?
They couldn't get Caitlin Booth the way could they?
No,
she's a cracking player, and they couldn't.
Yeah.
They just closed it down.
But they did a number on it, didn't they, at the end of the day? Which is, I mean, that's how you would do in the men's game, wouldn't you? Do exactly the same thing.
But they had the wherewithal then to play after that.
Yeah.
But you do see there's a lot more. I think it's a bit refreshing to see a lot more play.
Yeah.
It's not all about D,
Yeah.
So they do. You watch the women's game. Sometimes it's refreshing to watch because the ball's been moving around and going through hands, and you think this is what we used to watch.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
And you know what? You don't even mind a knock on or two, because at least they're playing.
Yeah.
They're trying to play rugby, which is what you want to see.
Yeah, and there's no rubbish in there, is there, in the sense of not that sort of cynicism you get in the men's professional game, where an hand will go in there and somebody will maybe once or but it's not a consistent thing, or somebody lying on and looking round to the line to see if everybody's back on side.
Yeah.
It's just a totally different game.
Okay, well, Gal, what can you say? But congratulations and well done to the girls there. Okay, let's have a quick look at the men's mid-season international. All the games were off while England went to play in France in front of bugger all, basically. 3,000 or 4,000. What is the point of this? It's
a farce.
It's mad to me. It's mad. It's not a competitive game. And Sean Wayne, he didn't even go.
He was in hospital.
He was having a
sack of the blood.
I think he was having an op for a course.
He's had an ankle operation, and apparently there's problems. Well, I don't know if it's with his ankle or whether it's just because it's shot.
Problems. Well, I wish him a speedy recovery from that, but a bit of a waste of time. 40 points to 8, 6-0 down after 5 minutes, and then a cakewalk. 2 for Wellesby, 2 for Hanley, 2 for Johnston, Nicholson and Williams, 3 goals from Harry Smith and 1 from Johnston, strangely at the end. But I think it's a pointless exercise.
I think it's a tick box exercise from the RFL. It's like John Keir made a point after the last World Cup about playing more games internationally because the likes of Wales, Scotland, Italy, they're trying to expand it. And we're then going, okay, we'll expand it, but we're going to have a meaningless game in the middle of the season, which has probably done nothing for the international scene.
No.
I don't think it has anyway, but maybe the players and coaches staff will tell us differently. But I just think it was a tick box exercise by the RFL to say we've had a mid-season friendly. And for me, it was a complete and utter waste of time. I didn't even know it was on. I was looking who Saints were playing. No. I'm thinking, have I missed something here? And I'm going, why haven't we got a game? Oh, it's an international.
It wasn't on telly.
It wasn't on TV. It wasn't publicised. There was anything build up about it.
For me, it would have been as easier with whatever squad they got there was playing against each other. Yeah. Splitting into turn, playing against each other. Probably would have been more competitive.
Give them a training weekend,
But the worrying thing about it is we're throwing like arguably our best player in Jack Wellesby into that team.
Yeah.
And it's a pointless fixture. If it was something that was going to build us up to the next World Cup and give us a chance of beating the Aussies or New Zealand team or whatever it was, then fair play, you go, right, hats off. But you're throwing players in there and there's a risk of injury and you're thinking, hang on a minute, why is our best players going over here?
Well, I think Delaney was brought into the squad. I'm not sure if he played. I don't know if he played.
I didn't even watch it.
I couldn't find it.
It was virtually impossible to see.
Yeah. Wow, yeah.
And still is. You know, when most things have been captured by somebody somewhere and put on X or U, not this. You can't find it anywhere.
It was a secret, wasn't it?
I know.
Wasn't it a curtain raiser for Toulouse and
Yeah,
Featherstone?
That's correct. So they couldn't pick any Toulouse players to play for France, which
So
I could
what-
not understand.
What bonkers is that?
Couldn't understand that.
But we've got an international game versus
Yeah.
France as a curtain raiser to Toulouse versus Featherstone.
In the Championship.
In the Championship, and it's absolutely bonkers.
Beg your belief,
Yeah.
doesn't it? It just is not. Right, let's
That
draw
makes
a
it
line
even
under
funnier because what you're saying is no Toulouse fans bothered to come early.
No, they didn't.
They want it, Bosh. We have another beer. Yes, have another beer.
The only English fans was 500 that turned up from Featherstone.
What's this on there? These are kids coming on now before our game,
It's
yeah?
incredible.
It's a farce.
George Delaney was 18th man and he wasn't used. Yeah, he was
Good.
Wellesby, Johnson, Sam Wood from OKR, Harry Newman, Ash Hanley, George Williams, Harry Smith, Luke Thompson, Brad O'Neill, Matty Lees, Ben Curry, Matty Nicholson, Elliot Minicello, Mikey Lewis, James Harrison, Tyler Dupree, Oliver Wilson, all on the subs bench. I mean, that's a pretty tight. Going back to what you were saying, Daz, about injuries. I mean, I'm sure
God
all
forbid.
those clubs would have been.
Look at Wigan there. I think how many players mentioned there? 5 off the top of my head, something like that. So Wigan, for me, I'd be going, hang on a minute. Why are we sending 5 players over there for meaningless game?
And wasn't Tyler Dupree already injured from a Wigan point? I know he's been out lately for a couple of games. So you would have thought, we're going to hold him back. We don't want to. That's.
It's like I remember when they did this in the summer, when just before the World Cup, they did one of these games, and then they brought all the players from Australia over, and nobody got a half the players into the game.
That's the other part of it as well, isn't it?
Do you know what they'd be better off doing? Bringing back Yorkshire versus Lancashire. And I know there's no teams left in Lancashire apart from probably Chorley Panthers under 9s or whatever there is now, but they would have been better off bringing something like a state of origin back, because
East versus West,
whatever you want to call it. But you then got 2 teams battling against each other of equal stature. It's competition, and also you've then got feeder players into the national. So at the end of the game, you can say, right, what players stood out from both teams? At the end of the year, you've then got your internationals, and then you can go, right, that was a meaningful game. So you can then go, right, we'll cherry pick our English players from them, cherry pick our Welsh players, whatever you want to do.
You're measuring players against players of equal talent, which is key.
And there's mileage in that. I think over time that rivalry would build, and that significance of that game would build.
Yeah. And I think what it is, there's that being the bonnet of the old adage. Years ago, they had the Roses match, and now you get, it'll never work. I can understand, because, like you said, Daz, the orange of Lancashire has gone in from a rugby sense because of the boundaries, etc. But as I said, this side of the Pennines, there's still a lot of teams. So if they just said, okay, fair enough, it's going to be a trials for England. It's a 3-match game, and it's going to be East versus Wests. I mean, you can even still stick a Lancashire flag up, Lancashire Rose and a Yorkshire Rose in front of him. Nobody'd argue with that. I'm sure people will buy into that, because how many times do you get it? And I would say it's every single time that you're playing a Yorkshire side and something kicks off.
Yorkshire.
I even watch a match now that is something like Castleford versus whoever, say Castleford versus Leeds. I'm thinking, I hope something kicks off, because both sides will be going Yorkshire. But no, I think, certainly from an ING point of view, it's okay. Let's look at this from a different angle, because, like you just said, the players are there on both sides of the Pennines who were good enough.
I reckon you could even throw in a Cumbrian team, because I reckon there's probably 30 Cumbrian players in the Super League.
Well, the bottom line is, the Cumbrian teams would come on in the Wests, wouldn't they? Because they're on that side of the country. So you could, so that's where they would fit in. And if you said the East was your London. Because
London into it. Absolutely.
You use the Pennines as your barometer, straight up and down.
Our pool of players in England no disrespect to France, but it's far greater than what France have. So France will be better, as John Keir said, linking up with Wales, linking up with Scotland, linking up with Ireland.
Yep.
They have like a 4-test series.
Definitely.
Then it was in England, because Samoa don't want to travel in mid-season. Tonga, NRL won't entertain it. So we might as well do something in-house and then go, right, because we're playing France every year. It's just not, it's meaningless.
The thing is, you've got to have a competitive game for some sort of buy-in.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the state of origin, for instance. For years and years, you got one side getting battered, and then suddenly the others come into it. And then over this last, 10, 15 years, okay, right, I know at the moment there's Queensland are in the ascendancy. But
New South Wales on Wednesday
for a long time.
logged a first half record, 32-0. I think it was at half time or something like that. So there is mileage in there, as you say, but it's just
all,
whether
all to play for in that now, isn't it?
Whether
if they used it as a these are the testers for the possible England squad
selection,
and
They need to review that game. That game's a real failure, isn't it? There's got to be some meeting going on somewhere that listen, guys, this isn't working. That's a viable alternative.
I would have thought that's somewhere where IMG would be getting involved and saying, let's do something with this. And
same as if they rebrand it, doesn't have to be Roses Water. It still can be Waterbury Roses, but it doesn't have to be Lancashire and Yorkshire under that brand type of thing. If you just one side of the country against the other, but because as I say, you look at the teams that have been successful through Super League. It's a balance, isn't it? So.
Yeah. Okay, so we're against the mid-season game with France. All right, let's talk about the Saints. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been trolling over social media and looking at recruitment for other clubs.
On the beach? You've been doing this on the beach?
Well, it's the benefits of social media, Steve, and the internet. You can follow all this.
In Malta.
You can follow all this, all the other clubs release who they're getting, and like Penny comes into Lee, and I'll give you the list in a minute. But Saints never do this, and I think it's either it creates an irritation amongst the fans. I think what we do know for definite is that Tommy Makinson's going to Catalan, and Lewis Dodd's going to Australia, and there's a void. There's a void, and we hear nothing, and nobody says anything.
And James Roby finished last year. That was a small. That's a big figure as well.
This is pretty easy. I've just had a quick look on the internet about who's going where, and these are all confirmed. These John Asiata goes from Lee to Hull. Tom Burgess is coming back from Australia to Huddersfield. Ryan Hall's going back to Leeds. Easton Masters, Huddersfield to Salford. Louis Senior, Hull KR to Castleford. Innes Senior, Huddersfield to Castleford. Jared Warrior Hargreaves, Salford Roosters to Hull KR. That's a biggie.
Yeah.
Luke Yates, Huddersfield to Warrington. Tom Davis, Catalan to Hull KR. Jordan Abdul, Hull KR to Hull. Tommy, obviously, to Catalans. Amir Burra, the Wigan Salford hooker, is going to Hull. David Armstrong is a biggie for me. Newcastle Knights to Lee. Nick Kotrick, Canberra to Catalans. Ollie Partington, Salford to Catalans. Now, there's some big moves there that have all been flagged and everybody knows about them, and we've got nothing. Is this because we announce these signings when season ticket sales are going out, or are we doing our business behind the scenes, or are we literally doing nothing?
Well, I know we had a bit of discussion, not specifically about transfers, but what it was last month was about. I raised the question about Paul Wellens having been offered an extension to his contract, because that's up at the end of the season. And obviously, you look at what Wigan have done with Matty Peace. I know they've got the Spondoolers at the moment, but you're thinking, some people are saying, "Oh, Wellens isn't. Is he the right man on this stand?" And if you took his name out of his statistics and you looked at that, you think
he's doing a good job.
Yeah, that bloke's not doing a bad job. And it just makes me wonder what is happening there. And it was suggested by your kid Daz that he said Saints basically do the stuff behind closed doors and keep it quiet. So it might be that sort of point to a certain degree as well.
We need to spend some money. We need the back needs some significant improvement.
Yeah.
And my worry with Wellens all along was that the club wouldn't back him financially because he's the local guy. He's ecstatic to be running the team.
Yeah.
Just do with what you're given.
Yeah.
And which were Wolves and Holbrooks wouldn't tolerate that.
Yeah.
He probably would tolerate that because he's just delighted to have the job, and that was always my worry. That ultimately he'll be the fall guy for that. But we've got. I mean, first ones for me is the one that screams out to me is we need to do whatever we need to do to keep Sione. Connie's a discussion, but we need to keep Sione.
Well, I think I heard a rumour his family's gone over.
I think
his family's gone back.
From what I understand and what I've heard, Sione is going at the end of the season.
Well, he's good enough to play down there.
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah, he is. 100%.
Absolutely is. He'll get a club.
And do you know what? If he does go, and God forbid he does, but we've had our money's worth out.
Yeah.
It's one of those cases where we got the right metal to your brother, didn't we?
We did.
Well, Dodwin was going. I suspect he's going now because he has to. I think if he doesn't wait any longer with his potential injury, and he daren't get himself injured just before a big contract for 3 years at Souths. Tommy's obviously going for a longer deal than he may well have got at Saints, maybe on a touch less money, but
that's a bit like
in the south of France.
Get a bit of a Coot vibe on that. I think we did the right thing with Coot.
We did.
And I think we're doing the right thing with Tommy. And I think we need to thank him for incredible service. But we shouldn't be giving him a 2-year deal now.
No. Well, we have got a lot of players 30 plus now. They've all come through at the same time to form this wonderful side that won 4 in a row and all that. But at some point, they're all going to get to 30. Suddenly, bloody hell, they're 32.
It's like Leeds, wasn't it? The Leeds dream.
I think the forwards,
35.
Like the Worms, the one people are going mad about. I think the forwards can do it, but the backs, as soon as you lose that yard, you're done. You're done. And even the one that I still a bit worried about was the Johnny 3 years.
Johnny's 34 now.
There's 2 more years of that yet. And I don't know, but it is what it is. We're into that one.
So I think what Johnny needs, he needs a good number 7 with him.
We need a 7, and for me, I would look at the failures because. And this is what other clubs do well, don't they? They see somebody go down Australia and they fail, and they bring them back and pick them out, no problem. I think like Jake Clifford's not gone back and not set the world on fire, but he did set the world on fire at Hull.
Yeah, good player.
Fantastic kicking game. Jackson Hastings is another one who's gone back and can't get a game, but he was like best player in Super League. Why don't? Because we need to replace Dodd. I mean, if we get lucky, in my word, young Whitby might be that good, but that's us relying again on getting lucky.
But that Richardson, Dodd, same thing.
So
we've got to be careful, haven't we?
We need one and
to be fair,
buy one.
To be fair,
one.
That's the policy, bringing the youth through, and we've got some good lads. There's a kid called Robertson and Dagnall coming through, but we're going to have this gap. Where they're not quite up to size and business, and we've got 3, 4, 5 of us. Percy's over 30, Huddle's over 30, Johnny's 34, Tommy's 33. Going to there's 4 need replacing. We'll need in the professional game. They all need replacing at some point.
One thing that really worried me, and it was Wello's comment. I don't know whether anyone saw it about the Sneed.
A conversation or something.
He basically sat down and said that Sneed's a player that we'd like to have at Saints, and a player that we'd like to sign, but basically the be all and end all is it was just a conversation. So I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, his contract was up. Salford are in a bit of a mare with their financial position. If we want a player like Sneed, what's happened to Saints that they can't go knocking on that door and go,
come and play for us for a couple of years.
Here's a contract for 2 years, because ultimately, if Snead comes for 2 years, then you've got
gives Whitby time.
It gives Whitby time. It gives other players time to develop and progress. But I've been looking at players in over here and also in the NRL. Chad Townsend, he's 33, but again, if you give him 2 years, he'll be 35. Yes, he's on the older, but he's going to bring that experience just for a year or two, just to guys in. Another one, disagree or agree, Josh Drinkwater, his contract's up at Warrington.
But we haven't got
he's never been bad anywhere he's gone, him, has he?
He's never been bad.
Set anywhere really alike, but he's never been bad.
But could he be that stability over the next 2 years?
Better kicking game.
Jake Clifford, you mentioned Jake Clifford. His contract's up at the end of the year, so do you go out and get him? But again, he's 33.
Is he really?
I think he's 33. Yeah.
Is he really?
He's proven him though here. He was brilliant in an awful Hull team.
Yeah.
But we actually haven't got a senior scrum half.
No. But then you look at there's a guy and I quite like him, Jaden Sullivan. He's only 22 and he's at West Tigers now. His contract's up at the end of the year. But with someone like that, it's like a Jackson Hastings scenario.
He's coming to get a new deal.
He's coming to get a deal in the NRL. Or do you look at someone who's really impressed me, and I know he plays for London, but Ollie Leyland. Now he's only 23 and he can play 6, 7 or 1. So there's some versatility there. And for me, every time London's played, I'm thinking
he's been the standout
player. So, Saints, do you go for him and go, okay, you might not be our starting 7, but you've got backup. And that's one thing now we're talking about with injuries. We've not got them players. You're relying on Ben Davis. You're relying on these young kids coming through. Ben Davis is not young, but like you've got Sam Royal, and for me, the squad players that they're never going to win you a game. They just come on and just do a job. But I don't know. We need an out and out 7, and there's players out there when you look through the list of players that's coming up, and we just need to be.
And we must have money to spend because of what's gone and going.
Yeah, I do know we've significantly upgraded Wellesby, Knowles, Delaney and Lees. So whether that's coming in next year when Tommy and Doddy have gone, I don't know. Well, we'll never know the tricky bits, but everybody else seems to be.
Look at the players that we've lost though over the past couple of seasons, and like you said before, going back to Coote when we lost him, Theo Farge, and we're replacing them with players that I wouldn't say like are warranted a deal as big as what some of these players on in.
So there must be something left over.
There must be something.
There's got to be.
When you look at Wigan's squad this season, how they are doing that under the cap is absolutely baffling. So if they can do it,
got Warrington's accountant.
Look at but it makes you wonder. And I raised it a few months ago about Super League put like an estimated spend. Saints were down in about 5th, and we were level with Salford and Huddersfield.
And
I'm thinking, our spend is level with Salford and Huddersfield. What are we doing? We own our own stadium. Apparently, the books are good.
4 in a row.
4 in a row. World Club. We've won some money. Where is it? Like,
well, but on the back of that, you're saying the money's good, but you look at some of the sponsorship deals we get. Considering we are 4 in a row. And you look at like the branding we got with no disrespect to Hornbargen, but surely why have we not got a big blue chip company?
I think Hornbargen are a pretty big blue chip company, to be fair. But
I think for rugby league, we've got to be a bit more realistic with the sponsorship, because we're never going to get like a big name, are we? But Hornbargen's is a big name, isn't it? But I don't know how much.
Is that not just up here? Is that not just the north?
No, they're all over.
Yeah,
they're all over the country.
I think for us as well, I just think we're not as smart in the recruitment right now. Like we talk about Wigan and picking up Sam Walters for nothing, picking up Jake Wardle
for buttons,
drove me mad.
Yeah.
Picking up Jake Wardle for nothing, picking up that Abbas Mystery probably for nothing, and they're all playing it first. I just think they're a bit sharper than us at the minute, and we're not picking up. We're not doing it as well. And you watch like I think he's doing it. Willie Peters If you look at the improvements at ALKR, they've got all sorts of players coming in over the last year or two, and they're all really good. And you think, how come they're doing it? And the one that me and Eddie talk about a lot, Joe Burgess. Why we didn't sign Joe Burgess? Joe Burgess and Oliver Gildart both went to Edmund Arrowsmith. You know what I mean? They're local lads.
You could argue with
why didn't we get them?
You could have argued with Adam Swift. Apparently, he presented himself to Saints and said, "I want to come back," and he went, "No, I don't want you." But that's what we've heard. You know what I mean? It's like his agent is coming. As well, he's coming to Saints, going.
Can't drive a ball in golf, though. It's terrible with the driver.
Burgess and Gildart. The reason they left Wigan was because they were both good enough to go to Australia. They subsequently found out they wasn't quite.
Not quite.
But they're bloody well far good enough to play top of Super League, and they end up at Hull KR. And you're like, well, what? Like Tom Davis, I'm not bothered that Tom Davis chose OKR, but the rumour was he chose them over us. I'm not bothered about that, to be honest. I don't think he's a great addition on what we've got.
But especially when Tommy's going the other way, there's got to be a deal there to be done.
Tom Davis is a good winger.
The one for me is Tom Johnston. That should be part of the. How can Tom Johnston be going back to Wakefield? You know, where are we? We should be saying
they're not even guaranteed a Super League place, and he's gone back.
You should be saying, look, you can have Tommy, right? You have our Tommy, we'll have your Tommy.
Yeah.
Hasn't
cracking? Let's do that.
Mike McMeekin signed for Wakefield, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. Yeah.
That was a rumour I heard.
So do you think if we're losing Sione?
He's always
I like McMeekin as well.
He's always been quite good at that, though. I know we have a lot of pops at Darryl Powell, but over the years he has spotted a player like your Luke Gales, and he has spotted him. You know,
the wrong that's out here.
I think there's certain, but I think there's certain managers. I think Rowley's another one that they see something, and you know, and I'm all, you know, it's worrying a bit. It's worrying a bit that we're not doing. If you go back to like the Kieran era when we brought in like Jack Owens and everybody brought in was diabolical.
Wasn't he going out with his daughter or something?
And the kid at 9 from Solve, he just got worse and worse and worse. I just hope we're not slipping into that because.
But I think Kieran was in that same sort of dilemma that you were on about that Wellens could easily fall into. You know, I'll do it because it's the club and I love the club and all that sort of thing. Yeah. It's I think it's probably a little bit more. Wellens is a little bit more savvy in that respect.
Well, I hope so. Well, there's a danger we're falling into the we don't do recruitment, we bring our own through. And there's going to be a gap, I think.
You need both.
You've got to balance it.
Look at Wigan, they're bringing their own through. What's that kid at 9? Brad O'Neill, he's absolutely top draw him. They're still at Havard, they're still bringing him through.
There's another
but then they're buying him as well.
For me, obviously, we're 7 short of next year, and I do not want to see Mbai at 7. I do not want to see him with a 7 shirt.
Well, he was brought in.
He's a utility, isn't he?
Yeah. You've got to keep him as that utility.
Yeah, and that's it. He can do a job, but you know,
he's not your starting 7.
No.
Well, when I was sort of doing a bit of prep for this, I wrote one word down: pace.
Oh God, yeah.
We don't have a lot of pace.
Yeah.
Best will in the world. The lads, our backs were once quick. Jack is still quick when he gets, but I don't think anybody else is got the same. Can't get away from players as they used to.
Would we like genuine speed?
Yeah, that's
absolute speed.
Yeah,
we want Darren Albert in 2025.
I hope I'm wrong, and I hope suddenly in September we get announced these 2 wonderful new signings. Happy days. We'll all be happy. But I mean. The Salford game, Dion Cross scored 2 nice tries against us. He was one of ours, wasn't he?
I think so.
He's in that same sort of place as Adam Swift to a certain extent.
Yeah.
They probably weren't right at the time for Saints, but they matured and they are. I think both of them could both do a job for us.
Adam Swift right now is better than what we've got.
Yeah.
But there's certainly I think we need a kicker next season.
Well,
and I know Percy's doing well, but we need another. If Tommy's going, because he can kick, can't he? And I think Dog can kick as well. His legs. But
Percy is second in the kicking table behind Mark Sneed
on numbers or percentage.
No numbers.
Yeah, well, he will do. He kicks more than anybody else.
Well, we scored the most tries, so he gets more goals.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's kicked, but his percentage isn't bad. I think his news, but I agree with Darren. I think that's why I think about players like Jake Clifford who kick him from anywhere. You can just relax.
Well, one player that is on the market and he is over the hill, if you like, is Reece Martin.
Yeah, I like him.
And I tell you what, he's a good player still, and he can kick him from anywhere. So do you look at that? If we are losing, I know we don't need many second rows. We need more prop forwards, to be honest with you.
We said that at the beginning of the season. How many second rows have we been through?
We've only got one left. If we lose in Sione, I think for a season or two, I think he's fit as a fiddle. I don't think he misses many games either.
No. You look at Sione though. How many positions has he played? And he never has a bad game, whichever position you put him in.
No. Centre, prop, second row, stuck out on the wing. And
yeah, he'll do your job, won't he? I've got to say, guys, there before we were on about Coots and Merkinson, and obviously coming to the end of the careers, and they took the money. I mean, one's going to the south of France and the other went to Hull, so I don't know who's got the best deal there.
Well, anybody who goes to Catalan, I think there's a couple more coming in there, aren't there? Nick Kotrick.
I think it's a strange signing for Catalan, though.
Do you think so?
To pick somebody at that age, and because there is a chance that he'll miss a lot of games because he's at that time, which is starting to happen for us. It's I thought I'd be a Catalan fan thinking we're losing Tom Johnston and we're bringing in 34-year-old Tommy Makin. I know he's had big injuries, Tom Johnston, but he's fit. He's fit.
I'll tell you now. If you are playing and training in 70 degrees. And you're living in 70 degrees, you will last longer, full stop.
Maybe.
Yeah. He's extended his career by getting a 2-year deal there, no doubt about it. And good luck to him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, just to enjoy the lifestyle down there, because he's put the yards in for
Tom does nothing, does he?
No, not at all.
He goes with best wishes, really.
Yeah.
He'll come back to haunt us at some point, I'm sure. Yeah. Famous last word.
With a drop goal from halfway
line in a grand final, But I mean, they're building again, and we don't seem to be building. I don't feel. I might be right. I don't feel like we're building.
I think, and this is from the club itself, isn't it? There needs to be more communication with the fans of what's happening. Recruitment, because usually by this stage in the season you're hearing rumours of who might be.
I think they can sign from June, can't they?
They can sign from May, I think, isn't it? 1st of May. So we're already 2 months into that, and we've heard nothing. Absolutely diddly squat.
To be honest, it might be that they've actually got people and they're just not telling us. They're just waiting until the season's over.
I don't get that, because I mean, if you were a player at Saints, would that be disheartening, seeing Lewis Dodd go, seeing Tommy go? If your contract was up and you didn't know who was coming in, would you be going,
am I re-signing?
Am I re-signing? I've got an offer from some. They've got such and such coming in. They're rebuilding, and it works the same way as the fans as well. Because us as fans, we pay our money, we pay our season tickets, we put money behind the bar or whatever we want to do, buy our shirts, but there's nothing coming the other way. It's like, give us something. Give us some hope because especially when it's not going too well, like now, you've had a loss at Salford, and give us some hope for things are looking up, or and do you know what? I believe from good sources that Wello has actually signed an extension, but for whatever reason, maybe he has, maybe he hasn't, but I've heard from good sources that Wello signed an extension. And
did you ask him on the way in?
No, I didn't. I know he sat in there.
He just walked past the window twice.
I saw it in his hand.
Have you signed, Paul? Have you signed?
But do you know what? When he had that run of a couple of games, I think it was a cracking month after May or April. I can't remember when it was, but that would have been an ideal time. Saints say, Wello signed for another 2 years. Yeah. That's in the bag.
I agree with
Let's move on.
It's
that's the start point, isn't it? We need that because we can't do anything without that. We need that first, and then quickly behind it, something else positive.
And I do hope it is Wellens, because he's a local guy. He's a cracking gentleman, and although we all want to see more expansive rugby, I think you're right. Before we need to put some money to get them sort of players and get that depth. to see that, you know.
I think with transfers not being an issue in Rugby League now, I think it's contracts and to be fair, when you're negotiating contracts for the next 2 or 3 years, you've got to have that weather eye on the salary cap. Now, I can't get my head around how complex that is sometimes, because you've got your homegrown players don't count as issue marquee players.
Yeah.
You can have so many, and then if you suddenly you go over it, you know you're in trouble, aren't you? But
plenty of room to manoeuvre, and it looks like we've got about 500,000 to manoeuvre.
And isn't that going to change, with the IMG model as well? I'm not sort of saying that the cap's going to go higher as such, but I mean, with that little bit of more flexibility with those types of things as well. I'm sure there's something in there with that as well.
Yeah, I think there's other rules coming in next year as well, which we discussed earlier in the season about players, how many games they can play depending on position and all that. So we could end up in a situation where, bloody hell, we're heading for the playoffs and we've got to play these kids because all these lads have played the games.
Right.
Now there's some complex tactical decisions to be made, and I think
how many marquee players can we have now? Is it 3?
I think it's 3. Yeah.
So
I think it's 3, but there's another exemption if they're homegrown as well.
So Wellesby,
if he's a marquee
so
player,
he's got to be our marquee player.
Yeah.
So who else is our marquee players?
I would think Knowles is.
Knowles, maybe, yeah.
Johnny.
I was going to say, yeah.
But it's a tricky question. We never really get to see. Nobody actually opens the books for you, do they, to show it? So you're only guessing, which is what adds to the frustration.
You'd have to say though, your marquee players need to be marquee players.
They do, yeah.
But
that's the point.
I'm thinking though, Wellesby is.
Well, Morgan Knowles. I mean, I love him. I think he's a cracking player. He gives away penalties, which you can take because he goes in hard. But is he a marquee player?
Well, it's like it's your Brett Frenches and your Johnny Fields and your Mikey Lewises, isn't it?
Did we get by without him? Yes.
Yeah, we do.
We've got by comfortably without him. In fact, James Bell's playing some lovely stuff out the back, which Morgan doesn't do.
No.
So if he is a marquee player,
he's a prop at 13, isn't he?
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and and an ageing Johnny as well. I think, maybe he is, but should he be? I'd like to see Wigan's marquee players.
Probably French, Field and Thompson. Probably
Field and Thompson. Yeah, I'll swap you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's disturbing how we're like 5th on the spending and we're down with, like you said, Salford and stuff. Well, we shouldn't be. We're just 4 times winners, World Cup winners, fantastic financial foundation.
Yeah.
What's going wrong? We should.
But this is not just this year.
No.
This is going back a year or 2.
We're skimping.
Last year we were crying out for another prop forward when we realised Parsley wasn't going to play something like the first 6 months. Crying out for another prop, and the Sam Essay from Wakefield was on.
Has gone to Wigan.
So everyone's going.
Never plays.
All over Twitter. Sam Essay, sign for Saints. Wigan signed him.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. What's happening here? And Wigan have loaned him back to Wakefield. They're doing what they used to do in the 90s, signing players and loaning them back.
But there's another one that we missed the boat on, Satai.
Yeah.
I've been raving about Satai, and then I find out he's left Hull and gone to Catalan. And where were we?
Where are we?
Yeah. Well, he's another forward. I think we've taken the view that our pack's good enough. Except that we've got 5 of them out injured.
Just thank God we didn't go in for Pelly from Hull.
Well, he doesn't play many games, does he?
Well, they've shifted him out. In fact, Hull, I think 1, 2, about 3 or 4 of players they signed, players they signed, have gone.
Yeah.
But they're a danger. They're a danger, and I'm not on about Richie Myler.
No.
But back in, and they're a big city club with a fantastic stadium.
If they get the attitude right and all that sort of thing.
I know we all like mock them and have a laugh at them, but underriding all that, what they actually represent, they're a proper sleeping giant. They could be really dangerous.
Well, they definitely brought in Asiata and Jordan Abdul for next season. So
not big.
Abdul.
Jordan, he kicks an eyeball.
He will get hammered. He will get hammered in the local derby, though, won't he? Jumping like that.
He's not Mikey Lewis, is he?
No. My point is they're doing things.
Yes, of course. They're doing lots of things.
Doing things.
Yeah.
Leah doing things, shifting out and bringing two crackers in. David Armstrong from Newcastle.
Yeah, that's a good one. That'd be good for watching.
He'll be a star.
Well, you look at Wigan's recruitment for next season. There isn't any, because what they've done is they've given contracts to all the existing players, so they're keeping hold of the.
They brought 6 in last year.
Exactly. They've got a decent squad for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
And we brought the last couple we brought in, Conrad Urrell, who was brought in as maybe a stopgap second row when we brought him in. Who played 2 seasons at centre because we nothing else. And Wonga Blake, who's only here for a year as far as I know, because he's off to rugby union.
That we should not renew. Should be here for a year because we're not renewing.
What do you call it?
Irrespective of what he wants to do, he's going anyway.
Well, do you know what?
Conrad O'Neill must be on a wedge, wasn't he, as well?
I don't think he is. I think he came for about 40k.
Did he?
Initially, yeah.
Initially, and then it probably went up when he started playing well. But there's a lad who plays for Canterbury Bulldogs, only 25, Jarrell Skelton. And I tell you what, he's big and he's quick and he's not getting many games for Canterbury, and he can play wing or centre. He's probably a better Wonga Blake.
Yeah. Well, I think
he actually runs at players.
Well, there's certainly players.
There's players out, and he's off contract. So there's players out there.
There are players out there. And I'm sure we're getting stuff. We get other contacts in.
We should have Agent Jammer should be doing that.
Agent Jammer should be tipping us up a few. But I do think we are getting hung up on those 3 or 4 superstar kids that are coming through, but they're not coming through for 4 or 5 years, are they?
No.
But they're not being given the chance, are they? I mean, look at Stevens now. Stevens only got it because we got injuries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're looking back to the London game, like we just went about that, like you said,
1 or 2 could have been fed in there.
I agree.
Especially in a pivotal position like 7. If George Whitby comes in at 7 next year, and
he's not had any games.
The pressure,
pressure
on that. Like you said before, Richardson. You know, Dodd again. He was thrown in.
Yeah.
There's another one who's gone.
Dodd was great till the Achilles. You know that game. I remember that day vividly. We beat Wigan 27-2. I was in Spain.
Yeah.
I was dancing around.
It was a surprise.
Dancing around the bar. I couldn't believe it. Dodd was amazing that day. And then later on, I found out
he hobbled off.
He's popped his Achilles, and you're like, oh my god! I remember that happening to New Love, and Achilles is a showstopper.
It's like you've been shot from a sniper from the stand.
First season back, he wouldn't take any risks. He's taking a few more now, but
he's not taking many.
He's not anything like pre-Achilles Dodd. Pre-Achilles Dodd was...
He was through holes. He was gone. He was gone. He was through holes.
He had no fear, did he? You know
he was amazing.
I mean, sort of player-wise and injury-wise in that respect.
I think he's without doubt coming back the year after.
Yeah.
There's no way... Unless
he'll be at Warrington the year after.
He's coming back, and he's one, to be honest. I wouldn't pursue bringing back. I'd be chasing Jake Clifford and I'd be looking at Jackson Hastings.
Speaking of guys who've gone over to Australia, I see Will Price debuted for and scored as well.
He looked good.
But he looked the part as well. You're thinking he's just at that development stage and he's in the right place at the right time.
He was another one though, wasn't he? With our connections with Leon as well.
Yeah.
And why have we not signed him?
Yeah, and Leon was over there as well, but apparently he's flew home to have his holidays at Blackpool.
Because it's better.
Well, there's another Herbie Farnworth, another one. I was a lad from Newtley Willers. Playing over. How's anybody missed him here? How's he got over there?
Oh, it's one of those.
Dom Young's another one who's gone over there.
Yeah.
As I live and breathe, I never thought Morgan Smithies would make it, but he looks good. He does look good in Canberra.
Tough though, him. He is tough.
He's a tough lad, yeah.
That's the first criteria for me. You've got to be hard enough.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what position
you're
you play.
Hard enough, you're knackered.
Yeah.
We'll see with Dodd whether he has got that in his locker again since his injury, because if I think they mentioned it on the last show, if he goes over there and plays anything like he used to be, then the question is that our coaching?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. Yeah, I agree with you.
You know,
yeah.
that's the question
Well,
that you've got to
probably
answer.
valid, wouldn't it?
there's a
If he's
question-
not doing stupid little dolly bombs every last tackle, like just like Forge did,
They won't accept that.
then it
over
is
there.
us, isn't it?
They won't accept that over there. I'm actually not quite sure who his coach is going to be, is it?
I'm not sure.
Bennett, isn't he?
Is it? Well, is that confirmed? I'm not sure. He's at Dolphins still, isn't he?
I
know he's supposed to be
Bennett
moving.
somewhere.
Yeah, that's the rumour. It's supposed to be Ben. I know. Thingy's been sniffing round him to get him. The Gladiator.
Wolf. Who?
Wolf.
Gladiator. Who's the Gladiator?
Oh, Russell Watson.
Russell Crowe,
No,
yeah.
Russell Watson. He's a singer.
Maximus,
Russell Watson.
Maximus Dodius.
Maximus Dodius. All right, let's finish. Let's wind up now, and let's bit of fantasy rugby league. What do we need? If you could have a couple of players, Gaz, who would you
I'd be
have?
having Matty Ashton and Ash Hanley.
Well,
You know, Ash Hanley, he can't be. I know he's captain at Leeds, but and I suppose he's a Leeds lad and he just puts up with it. But he ain't winning anything there. But he might be if Rowley goes. But I think he was there possibly for the picking, and Matty Ashton we're not getting away. But
he's not signing a new deal.
he hasn't signed yet, so we should be round there, knock banging his door down, saying,
How did Matty
"Come to
Ashton
us."
not get picked for the England squad? He never got picked for the England
Is he
squad
not-
at the weekend.
is he not right?
I think he was injured the other
He
week
must
after
be.
Wembley, wasn't he?
He must be if he's not been picked. And really, I think about like Darren's been saying, really, an Australian centre who's actually a centre.
Yeah.
Yes.
Over the years,
Yes.
we constantly sign CS Oliolas and centres that don't play centre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's actually go out there and buy a genuine
No utilities.
Australian. Yeah, we don't want to. Like Wonga's playing up wing. I think he was meant to be a centre. I don't know what he's meant to be. But get like an. And I wasn't an enormous fan of Kenny Dowell, but Kenny Dowell's a centre. You know, You know, Jamie Lyon was a centre. He could play anywhere, but he was a centre. You know.
Yeah.
So if you're asking me on my wish list, it'd be, and I don't know who this person is, but some superstar, not like, a bit like some of the ones you've mentioned that's played 6 games but are fantastic. Because let's face it, these guys like your Jackson Hastings and Jake Clifford come here because they're not good enough there. Then the superstars here. Then they go home because there is a gulf. There is a gulf.
But if you're playing if you're setting the Super League alight, you will get an offer in the NRL.
You get a deal.
That's why they come.
And this is my point on this: is if they come for 2 years and they achieve that, then thanks for the 2 years. We've really enjoyed.
And hopefully we've got a young kid coming through at that time that's learned off him.
You've been amazing. Thanks so much.
Yes.
Like Jamie Lyon, none of us cursed Jamie Lyon when he went back. We were like, it's inevitable. Thank you so much. We've loved having you here.
I think
somebody like that.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody who's got some problems at the minute, but really good.
I mean, ideally for me, it's a
hang around some bars somewhere.
an actual centre, an actual winger, and an experienced 7, like you talked before about like a Chad Townsend. Dare I say someone like an Adam Clune, who's wasted under Watson for me at Huddersfield, because he can play off the cuff and will give the young lads experience, and perhaps they can come in for him in the odd game, and whatever. But we do, please God, I pray we are doing that. Pace and an experienced 7 for me.
We're going to have to be, Graham, because our fans are fickle. And if we don't do anything, season ticket sales will be down.
They'll drop.
There's no two ways about that. We talk about Saints till I die and all this stuff, but you know, Saints till we're crap.
Saints fans are picking hills to die in all the time.
We'll still be there because we went to witness for a year, but. There's a lot that won't.
I watched those in the 80s, lads.
Exactly.
I will still be there.
Yeah,
so your thoughts on what we need? Similar views?
Yeah, similar views. We need to bring the kids through, but like you said, we need somebody there in the interim. I said it last week, and I surely you've got to start giving these lads, sort of dipping them in and out all over and wherever. Okay, you don't do it on block because you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, but how are you supposed to give them the experience? I mean, Stevens there, we've seen he's done really well, but he's only got that chance because of injuries,
but
isn't he?
He's also been dripped in.
Yeah. But as I say, if would you have got that chance if we hadn't had the injuries and the props that we've got?
Well, no, we wouldn't. We wouldn't have.
And I think that's got to be taken aside where you think, okay, fair enough. We've got to give, certainly with Walmsley, you've got to start giving him a rest, certainly next season, haven't you? I'm looking at that. So that's where the likes of Stevens and others like that, may only be 1 or 2 matches here and there. It might just be coming off the bench. Other than that, it's like get your hands in the pockets and
It
get
is,
something sorted.
it is, Steve, because if they're coming through in centre and wing, they're going to have to be truly outstanding. You know what I mean?
Because we're going to
There's
have
a
to play
difference
against
between playing well and winning trophies.
Yeah.
We want trophy winning players, and it sounds harsh at times, but some of them just aren't. You know, you mentioned Royal before, Wingfield. You know, they're not going to win you trophies. These.
Well, Ben Davis and Sam Roll,
Davis.
both contracts are up at the end of the season.
Yeah.
For me, I think if they get new contracts, that's our vision.
Yeah, it's a bad message.
I know the local lads, and I hate saying this, but for me, they're just good players, but they're good championship players. They'd do a job
for anybody
like
in the championship.
Widnes or Wakefield now, you know, is in the championship. Sheffield, they'd be a stalwart for them, an absolute fantastic player, but they've just not got that Saints class that we're used to. And you know, maybe we're going down a road where we're not going to be that Saints class, and maybe we're going down a road where we're going to be like Huddersfield for the next 10 years. I don't know, but
have the old fallow years like Leeds are going through at the moment, because they're exactly the same situation, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But it's that'll be a telltale sign for me where as a club we're going. Whether Ben Davis and Sam, if they renew, then I know what I'm looking at for the next 10 years.
I've got a feeling one of those will be renewed.
I've got a feeling they will, but
see how it goes.
It proved it at Salford. I just don't think our depth's there, because when you're looking at them two on the bench, you're thinking,
with nobody to come and change the game.
What have we got to change this? And Noah Stevens was on there as well, and you're thinking there's a lot of pressure on him. Was Parsi on the bench as well? I think was that our 4?
Yeah, I think
yeah.
So you know,
there's no game changers there.
There's only Parsi who can knock a few off, and you think maybe create a bit of space, but
we're heavily reliant on Jack to do something at the moment, and he's watched.
Yeah,
as near as damn it, there's always 1 or 2 heading his way,
and he's a risk, because if we go down this path,
that's the
he ain't going to stay till 28.
Not going to stay. No, we've got to now mould a team around Jack Wellesby, and we've got to give him anything he wants. If he wants my car, he can have it. But he doesn't
want a deal breaker, is it?
But you know,
I can edit that bit out.
But we've got to mould that team around him, because he is the future of the next 10 years.
Well, he's signed on for 2 more years after his current
28
contract.
His deal, I think.
27, 28. Yeah. But if
we're not planning for that,
if we're not planning now for then, we might as well give him a contract. So we might as well say pack his bags and go. You go in there now, because
the
his pricing
will pay.
They'll pay him.
They'll just pay what it takes to take him.
If the likes of Young Price and Dom Young and these guys have got big contracts in Australia, he's going to get one.
Of course,
he's going to get one. Yeah, no problem. So we've got it.
He's going to get a better contract than they've got, and they've probably a lot better than they would have got over here. But he will be, like the big guys over there.
He's a mega capture for their game.
If you get a 3-year deal in Australia, that's life-changing money.
Of course, it is. Yeah.
You know, James Graham went over at 23, was he 24, and he's not coming back. Yeah, he's got a house by the beach in Australia.
You wouldn't come back, Graham. If you've been to Man, I went to Manly, and I'm like, oh my god, and then our team went for World Club. I'm like, oh no, we're going to lose 5 players here, because if you go and see that lifestyle, my god, it's St Helens, Manly, and 3 times the salary. It's we've done ever so well to keep him this time.
To a certain degree, that the closest we've got here is people going to Catalan, isn't it? Because of
for the lifestyle.
They probably get good contacts when they go as well for their age.
The Aussies like to go there.
Yeah,
like Mitch Pearce and all that. They like to go there.
They just signed. Is it?
Cottridge.
No, there's a scrum half who retired. over in Australia. Not Cleary. It sounds like it's like that. But he's a top player, and they've signed him for. He's on the lines of the two scrum halves that they've had in the past from Australia.
Mitchell Pearce and the other fella. The little fella who's still in France. His name escaped me as well. He liked it so much, he went to sign for the Casters Club. No, he's played. I think he's been playing Rugby League. But
is he?
There's a few getting older in Australia.
It's proper nice down there.
It's lovely. It's lovely. It's lovely.
Before we go, Graham, I don't know if you've heard about the change to the rules for the Challenge Cup next season.
It wasn't on this, but I think we've rattled on, but crack on.
Yeah, the Betfred Challenge Cup will have a new structure in 2025 with 12 Super League clubs joining the road to Wembley at the third round stage. The third round draw will be held in January, well before the start of the Super League season, with the aim of building more momentum towards the Showpiece Finals Day in June. It means that the clubs from the Betfred Championship, League One and even the Community Game will have more chance to secure a glamour tie at home to Super League opposition, as the third round draw will be seeded to guarantee each of the Super League clubs travel away to one of the 22nd round winners. The fourth round, comprising of 16 clubs, will be played in March, the quarterfinals in April, and the semi-finals on the weekend of May the 10th and 11th, leaving the winners with 4 weeks to prepare for the Betfred Challenge Cup final on Saturday, June the 7th.
Good.
So I think that's much better in some respects.
One issue with that, I think, is wouldn't it be more lucrative for them if they came to you?
No, it depends if
Saints go to Minnow Club with a capacity of 900, then they're not going to get the earnings that they could have had. I don't know. I'm just curious as to this. Why? I get they get the home tie. They've no chance anyway. Have they? But they've got slightly more than no chance. But I'm not sure why they've done that, because if they'd have come to you, then they'd have earned, I guess, more money. Or do they not get the money?
There's an option to switch, I think, sometimes.
I think that possibly will, certainly from a community side, that will maybe an option. Yeah. But there again, I'm sure they would have to pay, if it's their class as their home side, they will still have to fork some money out. I mean, it's that catch-22 in that respect. I think.
The idea is great.
Yeah, I think when it gets to the League One and the Championship side, I think that is. It is good, because you're looking there as well for when the third round draw will be held in January. That means they will be now used. Yeah. Well, they'll be now used as friendlies. Where they were friendlies before, and you play, whoever,
right?
And you throw like it. I suppose now is, hang on, there's a bit of jeopardy on this if you're going to do that,
Yeah. You take that risk of who do we play, who do we field? Yes. If you get, Featherstone away, that's
Featherstone away,
that's not a laugh.
You've not finished your pre-season training. It's going to be a bit,
So there is a bit more in that, and is that an opportunity then to play the youngsters that were, we were saying,
and go out in round 3.
If you think your lads are good enough, you'll get your
find
team's
out.
good enough. But the opportunities are, because they go on about there's too many games, and then hang on, you've got a squad there, and there's how many of them, majority of your squad you've hardly played this season.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah. You can't do one. It's got to be balanced out.
It's a good thing for the game, because we remember when it was like that anyway.
Yeah,
and I know they might get beat 60-0, but if you support one of them clubs and you get a Super League club,
that's great.
That's a great day. Yeah. And every now and then there's the big, something happens that you're not expecting, and it's good. It's good. I like it all. I'm just a bit curious as to why they've insisted on. It's a home tie. I'm a bit.
But do you know what? Like Whitehaven the other season, Saints went to Whitehaven. Yeah. Didn't they take something like 2,000 fans there? Yeah. So for Whitehaven, it was absolutely bouncy.
Yeah.
Everyone was getting on. There was beers flowing. Cracking day.
Was it Barrow?
Barrow it was, I think.
Was it Barrow?
I think it might have been Barrow.
It was recently, but in the past,
I think he playing on the wing for them. T. Ritson.
Yeah.
That was a recent one, but we have had Whitehaven as well.
Yeah,
Yes, because we went to the Whitehaven.
It was only a
one.
couple of years ago, wasn't it? I'm
And
sure it was only
the
a couple of
bus
years
literally
ago.
parked up at 2:45 outside the pitch. Our team got off the bus and went straight on the pitch because we was late.
Yeah.
But do you know what? That's
At
the
half-time,
beauty
yes,
of the
exactly.
cup. It's the beauty of the cup, and for me, the Challenge Cup, it's lost all its identity. And you only have to look at the stadium being empty. You know, the full top tier, not even half of it's not even used.
Yeah.
So you've got to do something, and reading that and looking at it, I'm thinking, do you know what? At least they're trying it, and they can only try it. And if it doesn't work, obviously they can go back to another plan. But I think it's a good idea. And
Saints against Wathbrow.
But even like Cornwall are in it now, aren't they? You imagine if Saints got drawn against Cornwall.
Don't get me on Cornwall. They played York Acorn, right? And York Acorn turned them over. Yeah. And obviously at the end of the game, people run on. But if you can imagine if you were supporting Haydock, for instance, Gaz, and Haydock's going to turn them over, you'd have been on there. You'd have been on. Oh no, there's a crowd invasion, this, that, and the other. York Acorn got stung with £1,000 fine, which is it's absolutely unbelievable. And you think, and they were coming out with this language and that language. I was thinking, have you ever been to a rugby match? Certainly up north. And I just thought, no. Because I was talking to the coach of York Acorn the other week after this had happened, because we'd followed them at the beginning of the season. And they played Wathbrow, and the next game was against Halifax, I think. But before they played Wathbrow, they did Cornwall, they turned them over, you know.
Yeah.
And they were telling me all about it, and he was just shaking his head. He said, we didn't take many down. He said, my dad went down. He said, he took the dog with us on the coach. He said, and one of the things that they said was that this dog was attacking, sort of. I said, yeah. He said, yeah. And he said that my dad had effed and jeffed at people. He said, my dad. I said, in my life, I've never heard my dad swear, ever, And I met his dad while he's a lovely bloke, And you're thinking, oh, God grief.
But if they do that, they need to do something with it, like sort of, that we used to follow the winners, pick a team, pick one of the lowest ranked teams, and then follow them and follow the team that beats them, and follow it all the way to Wembley.
That's how our work thing used to do it. That's how BBC used to do it.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be tucked away.
No,
that should be, if BBC can't do that on their main channel, give it to Channel 4, give it to Channel 5 and say,
will you do this as a project for us? Yeah.
Follow them through. Do you remember Rugby League Raw years ago? That sort of, let's see what it's like behind the scenes and get people involved in that sort of
Let's go and see them training before the game, and let's follow the game, and then switch to the club that wins. And they need to do something like that.
Yeah. But I heard about that the other day. I thought it'd be interesting, and hopefully it brings more eyes to it as well. Hopefully there's a few more shocks, and it's not the same teams getting to Wembley all the time.
Yeah.
As long as it's obviously somebody and Saints.
We'd give up on it. We've given up on that, I think. Was it once in how many years?
Oh, don't
start. Anyway, on that note, on that bombshell. Thanks very much to Steve.
Cheers, mate.
Darren.
No problem.
Gaz.
Thank you.
We'll see you in August, and thanks to the Sticky Wicket, Ruskin Drive and Pilks Rex for the use of the facilities. We'll see you in August. Ta-da.
Come on, my son! In at the corner! Tommy Martin! Thank you very much! Lick 'em and stick 'em! Oh, he's going to the screen! What's he going for? Dear me, he's trying to keep the score down!